Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. I'm Heidi Smith. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in Warwickshire in the United Kingdom, and we're talking at the moment peachy projects. Sweet as a Peach is a stamp set with some coordinating dies, and they include not only dies to cut out these images here, but some extra accent ones as well, like these little flowers and extra leaves and things as well. So today, just a quick card using some of our lovely new Shimmer Vellum, which gives a lovely sheen to it in this lovely sort of pale papaya colour. Works well with both Calypso Coral and Calypso Coral and pale papaya. And I've actually stamped straight onto the DSP. Just a reminder that you can stamp direct. You know, it stands out really well. And I just used a couple of die cuts as well, and decorated the inside with some of the other stamps too. So there's our card. Let's get started. The paper I'm using is from the same suite, the Euro Peach. 12 by 12 paper, just a sample here of peach designs and flowers, lovely floral blossoms, absolutely beautiful colours in them. So it's a pale papaya and Calypso Coral, some balmy blue there, and pear pizzazz, and going through almost into the dark old olive as well, and then hints of bumblebee and mango melody, sort of for the orange tones in there as well. And you see here we've sort of got the mixture of the petal pink and a bit of pale papaya and Calypso Coral. Lovely greens there, and then some more, and that's the balmy blue that's picked out. So fabulous papers, and work really well for lots of different projects. But they're really pretty colours, lovely soft colours. So, project, I thought I'd actually have a go at how it worked with the petal pink this time. So you need to start off with a piece of card that's 14.5 centimetres wide by 18.5 centimetres. And you're going to score at 10.5. And then you're going to cut at I can't remember how, at 14.5. Yes, cut at 14.5. So that gives you two 4 centimetre pieces that you've got there. Really easy. Just that creates our little gap. You need a piece of our Shimmer DSP, and you can see the lovely shine on that. And that is about sort of just over 5.5 centimetres, thereabouts, by again 14.5. And then I've got a couple of pieces of card and DSP to layer onto those as well. So let's get on with the stamping. So if we're doing some stamping with a photopolymer stamp set, we're going to be stamping onto our Whisper White, but onto a stamping pierce mat as well. So for this one, I thought I would use some petal pink and some Calypso Coral for my peach. So really simple technique to add a little bit of extra colour. So ink it up, tap, tap, tap to ink up, using your main colour, which in this case is petal pink. Then a sponge dauber, just to add a little bit of colour around the edges, and then stamp that onto our basic white cardstock. And you get that really pretty sort of lovely peach effect. Clean off or stamp off. So again, ink up, petal pink, take that Calypso Coral, just sort of put where the sun would kind of catch a peach, and I'm kind of trying to emulate some of the colours here. So if you wanted to, you could also go in and add some yellow into that as well. I'm just keeping it quite simple with a couple of colours here. And these are distinctive stamps, so they give a really lovely textured colour to them as well. And you'll see here, so the difference between the pale papaya and the petal pink just gives a slightly richer kind of colour. And once we've done that, I'm going to want to stamp my sentiment onto one of my die cuts. So I've die cut that already. And I'm just going to say, hope your day is as, and then I'm going to do Sweet as a Peach. So there's my peaches. I'm going to do a couple of leaves as well. I'm just using Pear Pizzazz for this. Again, you can quite easily go in with a bit of old olive. I'll show you. And again, just add that, just to give us a little bit more shading in there as well. So you can see just darkens it down slightly. Okay. So I have already die cut a couple of leaves. I forgot to die cut the peaches in advance, so you will have to watch me die cut those one at a time. But while we've got our Stampin' Pierce mat, I'm actually going to stamp onto my DSP layers, which are here. So if I can remember, so this is my lower one. And I'm going to stamp my Sweet as a Peach in some early espresso onto the bottom corner. So rather than my original card having the happy birthday first, I'm going to pop this down in this bottom corner. You see, it does stand out quite well on that. But you could always stamp it onto a peach as well if you wanted to. And we're just going to add some glue onto those and layer those up onto our cardstock. So with these, what I've done is I've kept them the full width of the card and just taken them slightly narrower. So my card layer is 3.8 by 14.5, and then my DSP is 3.5 centimetres by 14.5 again. So it's slightly narrower than 1/8 of an inch, and obviously the measurements I'll pop on my blog for inches for those, just so that it's easier than trying to go through sort of tiny measurements. While we're gluing, before we do any die cutting, I'm just going to pop some Stampin' Seal Plus across, just in from the edge, but across the width of my my card. I'm going to do the same on my lower piece. It's just easier to add it to the card rather than to the vellum. And I'm going to line this card up with the base layer. Just make sure that that's in line. And then just add my vellum, which I haven't trimmed, to 14.5. Just going to trim that down quickly. That's typical, I haven't quite cut to the top. There we go. So there we go. And just so yeah, all you do is just fold that down to add that layer on as well. And because I rushed it, there we go. Just trim that flush in line. And obviously, there we go. Yep, add my layer to the bottom there. So it just gives a nice little edge to that. And do the same to that top section as well. So I left plenty of coverage with the vellum, just so to make sure that it was going to stick down well and be well covered. And that way you get a nice panel on both sides, like so. So let's do some die cutting. So I'm just going to grab my die cutting machine. This is obviously our little one. You just get the single peach die. So all you want to do is just grab the die and line that up with the peach. So with they're really easy, so just make sure you can see all of the image, you're not having any white anywhere. I pop a piece of tape on just to keep it in place. Now if you don't like a whiteboard around your die cuts, then it's worth stamping it onto some coloured cardstock. So in this instance I'd probably use some petal pink or some pale papaya to stamp on. Obviously it does change the colour of your peaches, and I rather like the variation in colour that you get when you're doing it onto Whisper White, because you really get those highlights coming through, which you miss. I miss a little bit if they're done on coloured card. But again, you know, it's about personal preferences, and there's no right or wrong. Just, you know, have a play around, see what works for you, and have a play with some of these colours. In one of my other videos, and in my Sweet Inspiration, I'll show you some of the colour combinations I played around with these peaches to get different effects. And you know, have a look in the shops, see what yellow peaches look like. You know, have a look at the colours that are in the paper you're putting it with as well. So in this paper, obviously it coordinates, but if you use one of our other papers instead, or a floral one, you could obviously vary the colours with that. Oh, and I forgot to cut the leaves. Hopefully I've got another one handy. There we go. So there's my peaches. Hopefully oh look at that, in my little pack I have an extra leaf. So always when I'm having a bit of a stamping session with sets like this, I do make sure I put some extra ones in. So what I'm going to do now is actually wet glue some of these into position. Looks like my Tombow is deciding it's on its way out. So I'm going to pop a peach up here, and then we're going to have another one down at the bottom. So add the glue onto the bottom there. I'm actually going to, what I might actually do, thinking about it, I'm going to add some Stampin' Seal. There we go, because that will help attach it to the vellum as well. That nice strong. There we go, and that then gives some extra substance to our card as well by adding that in. And this last one I'm actually going to add with a few dimensionals. So just take your dimensionals and pop a couple of those. You'll see I've just curved it slightly with my thumb and forefinger, and I'm just going to pop a couple of dimensionals down the centre section of that, and that then enables those corners to curl round and still but add a bit of dimension onto it as well. And then with these three leaves, I'm going to do two in one direction, one in the other. I just used a bit of my fine. So I want to glue two on. In fact, I could actually add some glue all over those, because they're going to be attached to the card at the back as well. And the third one I shall attach using a dimensional, again to just give that bit extra. So I've got one coming away in this direction, and another one just to balance it up in this one. And then our third one I'm just going to pop with a mini dimensional on the back there for our leaves, like so. And then all I want to do now is just attach I've attached our sentiment to the back of a piece of the same size but just slightly offset of Calypso coral. And then that can go just above where we've stamped our sentiment direct onto our paper. So hope your day is as sweet as a peach. And then for the card, to decorate the inside, all I've done is I've just taken a piece of Whisper White, and you just want to trim that down to 14 by 10. And then stamp those lovely leaf spray and the flowers. So I'm just adding the leaf spray, adding those flowers in our peach that of course I can't find right now. So actually I'm going to mix it a bit. I'm going to go for Calypso coral stamped off. So just stamp that off and add the flowers in. And then you can come in with that little centre on each of those. And then again, using the little flower trio, to add a pretty layer to the inside of your card. So just a touch of glue on the back there. And then I would repeat that on an envelope as well, just to combine and coordinate. So there we have a pair of pretty peachy cards ready to send. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me again soon. And if you'd like to purchase the product, just click on the links below. Bye now.